We will discuss the highs and lows, the challenges and successes. Give us 90 minutes and we will solidify the connections we share with Dominicans all over. And nous celebrate achievement dominicaire tout au latin. Connecting the dots. Tune in this Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Come join us as we weave a tapestry and strengthen our connections. ASU Radio DBS.
Stories have been told.
Welcome, people, welcome. Welcome to another edition of Connecting the Dots on DBS Radio. Well, we missed two, back to back last week and the week before that. But here we are once again. And yes, we welcome you to another edition of that Saturday morning program that seeks to strengthen the ties that bind. Strengthen the bonds that we share as Dominicans. It is the final program for the year 2023. Imagine that, Yes, it is the final program for 2023. And what a year this has been. Like a roller coaster at times, a Ferris wheel, a yo-yo, ups and downs, highs and lows, successes and failures. But the connection was connecting. That's the important thing, And it is still connecting. So the intention is to continue on that trajectory in the new year. Nigel Francis, come a while. Where's Nigel? Nigel?
Hey, what's up?
I'm fine, Nigel. How you doing, man?
But I not seen you on the other one, but I seen you on the other one.
You not see me on the other one, but you see me on the other one.
Yes. That is a how do we say that? That's a you watch it. Look,
you not see me on the other one. Well, they had better fix it,
Yes,
somebody fix me up. Fix me up, please.
Yes, I seen you on the book, but I not seen you on the other one.
Okay, we'll see what happens. We'll see if we can fix
so we're
this.
not seeing on the Zoom, but we're seeing on the Facebook. But it's all good. Okay. How are you doing, my dear? Like you said,
well, yes.
For the last 2 weeks,
yes,
but of course we had to generate some revenue and help out some sponsors here and there.
Yes.
And
so we were not on detention or anything like that.
So it's all good.
We were not on suspension or detention or anything like that. We just had to pay some bills.
So let's
and the festive time around,
early. Yes.
Yeah.
We were not on suspension. We were not on detention.
We did not get any letter.
Absence. Yes. We were just taking care of other things.
Right, that's it. Nigel, Nigel, where my Christmas now?
Well, I was waiting for the package. I was hoping I would get a package wrapped with some, some things in there. I didn't get it, but I sent yours down,
You said, you serious, sir?
Yeah,
okay.
It went by boat and the seas was rough, so they couldn't land. They couldn't offload at the time.
Maybe.
So it looks like it will come, this week for the New Year.
Okay, that's what I've been told several places. It will come this week. Well, the New Year, week of the New Year. So
it come in.
Money bag I collect.
It come in, yes.
But Nigel,
at the port.
I saw you and your family, on picture, and I was like, wow, yes, I really love this, Nigel, because I firmly believe, Nigel, that the true essence of Christmas lies in the warmth, and the love shared among family members and friends as well, Nigel. And when I saw this photo, I was like, yes, that's it. So I was well
Yes.
pleased. I was well pleased.
Well, yes, I'm happy for that because it's family moments. You know,
Yeah.
it's a time when you share with each other and you spend time and you laugh, you eat, you have merry, you pray. So it's a beautiful thing about Christmas is bringing the families
Oh
together.
yes. Oh
So
yes. Yes.
yes,
That's true. I
so it
like
was
this.
lovely. We could have had the family here and celebrate, continue to celebrate because the season is still on.
It is still
So
on. So
um, you know. By the way, I tell you Merry Christmas already, yes. But I'll tell it to you again, so Merry Christmas again.
let me
Yes,
see.
but it was beautiful. It was
Yes,
beautiful. It was
yes.
beautiful. So
I
I
love that
certainly hope
family
that
vibes. I love this because
yes,
Nigel,
yes.
this warmth, this bond, it goes way beyond the material aspects of the holidays or the season more so. So this is good.
It is, it is, and it's beautiful to share those moments and to capture them as well.
To
You know what I
capture
mean?
them,
So you want to
yes.
make sure you can look back,
Yeah, yeah,
and say,
man.
hey, you remember that one last year, you
Yes.
before, whatever, and look at the pics and look at all the videos and everything else. So yes, that was wonderful to share. Hope you had a wonderful time with the family as
Oh
well.
yes, yeah.
Didn't work too much. I hope you got a little time to
Nigel from him
to
this
stay home.
and not to say that loud enough, no Nigel. But you see that time there, that News Day there. Why Nigel?
I
I go back at
know.
12. I don't know.
Yes, I can imagine youngster right now running around trying to put together end of year.
Yeah. Well, it's prepared, it's ready, but youngster, he has to listen to it over and over
Well,
again.
you know him already.
To ensure that
To
all the
make sure
editing
everything
is
is as
done.
it's supposed
Yes.
to be.
Yes,
Yes.
so he's doing that. So when I came to work this morning, he has already seated at his desk, and in fact, he worked very early this morning. Nigel, you hear me? Okay, all right.
Yes, I can hear you.
Nigel,
Yeah.
how many hours left before we ring in the new year? It's what? It's almost
Yeah, yeah. You
10.
see trouble she gave me
I
this
wonder if
morning. You know?
my
How
I'm
many
sure the
hours
guests
left
can
before
calculate quickly.
well, you have 24 and then you have another what to go now
So
again.
like
Another where was
14,
it time now?
14, and so
Well,
like
for me it's
28, is
different,
it?
but
No,
yeah,
20,
you probably have
48,
another 30 something.
48,
Yes, roughly
thereabouts, yeah.
thereabouts.
You remember back in the
Yes.
Nigel, the catchphrase on like the first day of January was like New Year, New Rule, and resolutions were being made like crazy. You remember that, right?
Oh,
Oh
New
my
Year, New Rule.
goodness.
You're touching my book.
Yes,
New
yeah,
Year,
yeah.
New Rule. New Year, New Rule. Nobody lending my pencil.
Yes,
New
that was it back in the day, of course. And
Yeah, New Year, New Rule.
oh,
Do
I'm
they
not
still?
eating
I
meat.
think.
New Year, new rule. Like no black pudding for me. New Year, new
Yes,
rule.
yes.
And all
New Year,
of
New
that.
Rule.
I'm gonna
Yes.
lose weight, or I'm gonna
Yeah.
exercise, or oh my goodness. But this was like a toxic affair because most of the time people could not keep up. Maybe even a day
After
after
the
New
first week
Year.
or so, you don't do that.
Some could last a month, but really some of the resolutions were maybe too ambitious. So I remember it was seriously,
Probably. But I wonder, do people still make New Year's
But
resolutions? I
of
mean,
course,
probably if they do now, they probably make it more practical. They probably make it things that they know they can actually get accomplished, right?
yes,
But I
yes,
really
yes,
love the New Year, New Rule that we used to have. I don't know
man.
I don't know if it's something that still happens now. I don't
But of
know.
course, yes, it still
You know.
happens. But I remember
Yes.
though, at a very young age, I abandoned this idea of New Year, New Rule. This concept, it wasn't working for me. Um,
You were breaking the rule right early, man.
yeah, so I realized very early in life, Nigel, that I should use this season going like into the new year as a time for reflection and gratitude. And that thing about New Year, New Rule. So very early, I abandoned this thing. And but you see, this year, New Year, New Rule, Nigel, you owe me a lot of stuff. So let's
New Year, New Rule. I love that. I love that.
yeah,
But in a way, it used to kind of keep you.
but of
How
course,
would I say? It used to kind of keep you planning for something. You could
yes, yes,
you could
it
probably
taught
say,
us,
this year
yes.
I'm going to do this. So that way you have like a dream, a goal, something that you want to do. Maybe we had too many of them, or maybe, like you said, it was too ambitious, so we couldn't really accomplish that.
Yes,
I mean,
yes, we could not. A lot of people
but
could not accomplish
yes,
this thing. But yeah, it is all good though to set goals,
it is. It is. It is. Let me say good
And
morning to a book to those on the book.
oh
Carl
yes,
Kofi
what is
James
the
is
book
saying,
saying?
yes,
Anybody
Carl
on?
Kofi James. Good morning. He was there very early this morning. He's
Yes,
saying,
we
"New Year, no rule." Hey
New
boy,
Year,
that's
new
a new
rule.
one.
Okay, all right.
Yes. Gordon Henderson. Happy holidays to you, my brother, as well. Merry Christmas and all the rest of it. Edwina London is saying good morning to us, Ivona, and Merry Christmas. And Shills Jules and Winnie Green, good morning, Merry Christmas. And when the New Year rolls around, Happy New Year as well. It's always amazing to me that on the New Year, of course, because of the different time zones,
Oh,
You have the new year coming in earlier for others than for
yes,
some.
and very early for some, eh?
Um,
Very, very early for some.
yes, but it's still the new year. What are you looking forward to for the new year?
Me, all that's good. I
Yes,
mean, especially family and good health,
that's it.
and just a closer connection, with the Most High,
That's
and
it.
do
That's
more
it, my dear. That's
meditating
that's
and things like that. And yeah,
yes,
just take it
yes,
easy, man.
yes.
Just to take it easy, seriously.
That's what we look for.
So
We look for
I
continued blessings,
yeah,
health,
that's it.
strength, and to keep that connection
Keep
with,
that connection. Yeah,
the
I
higher
tell you,
power
Nigel.
and of course family.
That is important.
Definitely so.
Yeah.
Definitely
So yeah, just a
Yes.
quiet year again for me. My plan is obviously to well, I'll go to midnight mass. God willing. I normally read at church, so I'll do that again this year. And yeah, just
C'est
have a
vrai là.
quiet. But Nigel, I'm more than a lector and every. Anyway, Nigel, that's for
But
another.
but 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 all you
No,
all you ain't
Nigel.
that.
No, no, Nigel. I've been doing this for years and years and years and years and years, as long
I
as I
know
can
that.
remember. So
I
yeah,
remember that part of it.
So
Yes,
yeah. I
yes.
mean,
So you'll
yeah.
be doing your readings again, midnight mass. But midnight mass, by the way, midnight mass is a thing by itself. That's like a
Nigel,
staple.
especially
You
midnight
know.
mass, like all years mass. Nigel is then you see everybody you have not seen. You see people who
For
are
some
drunk.
reason, people have to find themselves in church
Oh my
midnight mass.
goodness,
For the like people say you have to
Yes,
open the new year in church.
man. I mean, it's a good thing, but sometimes it can be very comical. Some of the people who come straight from the bar, the rum shop, and they come. Anyway, it's a vibes. It's a vibes.
At least they find themselves there.
Yes, they find
You know.
themselves their way.
Yes, they find themselves there. Whether
Yes,
they outside or inside, they find themselves there. Straight from the bar, you go there and then you go back to the bar.
All
We
right,
are
so
a special
Nigel,
people.
yes, I want to get a lot of our guests today because let me tell you something.
Yes.
This lady is so talented and she has so much going for her. So we have to get her soon. So Nigel, you have the prayer close. Let's say the prayer and then we
Oh,
go.
oh, still she doing missionary. Tell me you can
Okay,
have the
so
prayer.
let me see if I get it. Okay, I got it. So let's say the prayer for connecting the dots. Heavenly Father, creator of mankind and the universe, we thank thee for the gift of life today and all the blessings you continue to bestow on your children. We seek your presence and intervention throughout this program, and we ask that you keep us connected always. We also pray for the success of the program, its coordinators and listeners, that they may find purpose and enjoy what we share. Bless our radio station and the nation, and may we grow to love and unite with each other, irrespective of our differences. All this we ask in your name, now and forever. Amen.
Amen. Yes. It's always beautiful to start that way. It gives us a sense of purpose and direction,
I like this. I like this sense of
Yes.
purpose.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely so.
All right. So it's time to bring on our guest, Nigel. We are ending the year with a special guest, and so, I mean, it's a big deal. In fact, I know Maxine Alleyne-Esprit. Well, she has to sing, and Nigel, by the way. And I want to sing a lot, like reggae and dance and tout bagay yourself today there. I just want to sit and enjoy that vibes today there.
Yes.
All right. So nice. Yeah. So Nigel, it really is a pleasure to bring on Maxine Alleyne-Esprit. So maybe we can come up with a recipe to describe Maxine, Nigel. Let me see. So what I was saying, well, look, I put myself. Anyway, let's see.
You put yourself in trouble,
Let
man.
me see the flyer. Let me see what I can say there.
Maybe we can come with a nice
yes.
booyah. Because we look at a nice booyah jazz.
I just getting the
fusion,
flyer for the program.
She does all of that.
Yes.
So nice booyah jazz fusion to welcome her. Be beautiful.
So okay, so I have the flyer. So we can say like, find a Dominican daughter. You're mixing talent extraordinaire. You're throwing a dash of beauty, and charm, and you stir in intelligence, and you add recording and performing artist. You mix that with events coordinator, events producer. You add communication specialist. You also throw in a dash of humanitarian worker, entertainer, easygoing spirit. Voila, you have Maxine Alleyne-Esprit. Nigel, your turn.
Yes, and then all you have to add after that is the family girl as well, and
yes,
you're adding a little touch of kin feel in there, and what I mean. So it's going to be a beautiful day, a beautiful morning with Maxine.
Yes, man.
Hey, Maxine,
It's
welcome. It's good to have you here this morning connecting. How you doing?
I'm good, Nigel. I'm good, Nigel. I'm good, Ivona, and good morning to all the listeners. And before we go any further, let's correct ourselves. I am not from Kinfield, Nigel.
What?
But
Say it again.
Jama.
Hey.
I am not
yeah,
from Kinfield.
Hey, Papa.
I don't know where you get
he'd have
Kinfield
somebody
like.
on the program right now that's going to give us trouble because they say you have Kinfield connection and you're more Kinfield than
Kinfield.
Mao. So look
No,
trouble
no,
now.
no, no, no,
Anyway,
no, 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 no. I have been in Mao since I was less than 2 years old. And I am still in Mao. My husband is from Massac, so I don't know where you'll get Kenfield from.
I
Okay.
have. Well, they will tell me.
Oh.
They will tell me. But welcome to the MMC. Sorry. I meant because I was gonna say Maho Massa Kinfield and see
Kenfield.
how MMC come
Hey.
and they might think it's something else. But look,
I might
you
look
just put
trouble.
yourself in trouble.
I know. Alice,
So welcome to MM, Maho Massa
Yeah.
and Maxine. So triple M,
And Maxine, right?
MMM. Yes, Triple M, MMM. But
Good
yes,
morning and
it's
thank you.
beautiful to share those moments with you, Maxine. We're going to find out a lot more about who is Maxine and what she's been doing and all the rest of it. So it's a beautiful connection, and we're happy we can end this year. Merry Christmas to you, season's greetings, and looking forward to great things for the new year. From the beginning, I want to say that to you as well, all right?
Many happy returns to you
Yeah.
and to everyone listening.
All right,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful.
Yes,
So I
yes.
we want to start with Maxine, right? Find out a little bit of Maxine from Little
All
Girl
the
first
best for you, Nigel.
before
And
now
again,
she is Miss
Maho,
Kid.
come on, man. She has a lot to tell
Jamao.
us.
Yes, so we want to
Yeah.
start from the beginning. So tell us a little bit about Maxine in terms of the very beginning, Maxine. What part of Dominica again are you from? And then we will take it through the schools and everything else.
Well, as I said, I'm from Mao. I have always been a Mao girl. I have lived many different places in Dominica at a certain point in my life. But I'm right back at Mao, and it has always been my place. So yeah, that's where I'm from. When I tell people I'm from Mao, sometimes people that don't know me, they watch me like, Mao.
It's like you're so conservative or something like that.
No, not just that,
Oh.
not just that. My complexion, people expect me to be from Petit Savan or La Plaine or somewhere like that. And so when I tell them I'm from Mao, people watch me and they wonder, okay, what family, you know. Yeah, but so let's say my roots are not in Mao. And my roots are a whole different story by themselves. There's a funny story about that when my father was in politics. Um, when Vic Rivera apparently accused him of not being a Dominican, he was, a candidate for Mahu, and obviously Vic was his opponent. And so Vic accused him of not being Dominican, and he photocopied his page of his first page of his passport or his birth certificate or something like that and put it on the back windscreen of the car. To prove that he's born.
Those were the beautiful days of politics, man. Those were the wonderful days.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's where I'm from. I'm from Maho. I guess people used to call it, mostly people used to call Belfast bourgeois city. Some people still call it that. So I grew up in Belfast, running around, climbing trees, picking grapefruits, and plenty guavas in the place at the time, and yeah, just going to the river at the time. Belfast River was nice and big and full, and lots of views, and yeah. So I really enjoyed my childhood. It was quite a free and enjoyable childhood. And yeah.
But as you on that, Maxine, in terms of the childhood there and growing up in Belfast, Mao area, was there, I don't want to say it was less developed in the sense of, but because there were probably less development houses and that sort of thing, you probably had more space to run around and do things that you don't have today, right?
A lot, very much so. Like I said, there were a lot of guava trees, mango trees in Belfast that you don't find as much of anymore. At the time, it was, the families, all the children grew up together. When if lights went, we would, my mom plays the guitar, and at the time, Mickey White, lived in Dominica. This is before Hurricane David. And he played the guitar as well and has a lovely singing voice. And so if lights went, we would all the families would just congregate on the street. And we would have some, I guess informally, some serenade. It didn't have to be Christmas time. But yeah, there were very few houses up there at the time, and everybody knew everybody. and we would freely walk between, between the houses, and we were all friends. We grew up together. There were, I guess Belfast was well known for having dogs, but at the time, let's say, the properties were not fenced or anything like that either. So it was a much freer lifestyle than it is now. But I guess those are the ways of life.
Yeah, I mean, these are things, of course, that goes with development, and sometimes we have to take away certain things in order to get certain things. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, growing up in the Belfast now area, did you go to primary school there, or did you go to primary school somewhere else?
No, I went to primary school. I went to convent high school. So that's one of the things, is that I didn't go to school in the Maho area. I was part of the Brownies there, and we went to church there. But I did not go to school there. I went to school at Convent Prep. Well, my first school was actually, I think Miss Bertrand was on some time ago talking about her preschool, her beginning of preschool and so on. So I went to preschool. Glenda Bertrand was my preschool teacher. And then I went to Convent Prep, and then I went to Convent High School. It was simply more practical because both my parents worked, and both of them worked in Nirozo area. So as with my children now, it's easier to bring my children into town where I work, to have them at school there than to have them at school where I live. Right, so I lived at Bells for a while. It didn't make sense to have the children at school at Bells, and I'm working in town. I live now in Maho again. Same thing. It makes more sense to have your children close to where you work, going to school, so that you can pop back and forth and do whatever you need to do for them.
All right. But in Nigeria, I lose a lot there because I was kind of distracted trying to ensure that we have Maxine, Lord and Claire.
Yes. So what you missed out was Maxine used to climb trees. She
used to climb trees.
Yes, she used to climb trees.
I was very much a tomboy, actually.
Okay.
I was very much a tomboy because I only had two. I had two brothers. I have no sisters. And most of the people in the neighborhood were boys. The girls were quite a bit older than me, 5-6 years older than me. There was only one girl actually in the neighborhood, and that's I hope she doesn't mind. She just doesn't mind if I call her name, but Elga Thomas. And let's say both of us were tomboys. And then at a certain point, there was another family that came in that there was a girl who was my age. I think she would prefer I don't call her name, but we remain friends to this, very close friends to this day. But it was mostly boys in the neighborhood, so I grew up running around with the boys, really.
You grew up doing what the boys did, which is fine. Which in a sense might be, and we'll probably come to that later, but in a sense that might have probably laid down a foundation for you where you're able to be able to associate and know in terms of the male part and all the rest of it,
Definitely.
from the work that you do now.
Definitely.
But at Convent Prep, so you went to Convent Prep there, school there. What do you recall what it was like back at Convent Prep in those days?
It was lovely. I mean, it was great going to a mixed school. I have friends to this day from my Convent Prep days. We had great teachers like Miss Garrard. I mean, Miss Garrard was a legend. She taught me, I think, in kindergarten 1 or something like that. We had Miss Garrard, we had Miss Allport, Miss Burnaby, some really, really, really good teachers who have Miss Coffee, teachers that have really impacted our lives, I think, to this day, and also, like I said, friendships that endure also to this day. We used to play a lot of games. We used to play marble hole and ring games and stuff at school. Play skip and a lot of things that I don't see children really doing anymore. But there was a lot of that, and then we had I was a student of the Carey School of Music as well, and Pearl Christian was with Carey School at the time, and then we had the Carey School choir, but we also had a Convent Prep choir. So I was always one of the leads in that, the female lead, and you all might be very surprised to know who was the main male lead. I'll put his business outside. He doesn't sing anymore at all, but Kimo Astafan.
What?
And I, yes. Kimwana used to be the two leads for many of the productions.
Interesting.
Yeah, so many people will remember. Many of my schoolmates from that time will remember a lot of those productions. So yeah, Pearl Christian is an integral part of my story as well.
Wow. That's nice.
For those who don't know, though, Maxine, because you said earlier about your parents,
and
just
her father
very
in
briefly for
particular,
those
yes.
who don't know, who are your parents?
All right, so my parents are Brian and Brenda Allin. My dad, of course, was first a lawyer, a human rights lawyer, and then went into politics in the days of the shake-up, in the days of in the 70s, really, when we had, lots of things going on. And so he came into the fray of politics at that time and remained in that for 15, 20 years, I think, more or less. My mom is Brenda Allin. She's born Vincentian but Grenadian family. Her dad and I and my dad and herself met in Grenada in their teenage days, and got married. Several years later, she moved to Dominica, and she forgets that she's not Dominican. We have a joke about that as well. My mom has been to the registry twice to get her birth certificate, forgetting that she's not born in Dominica.
Like, seriously.
So she moved here, and so that's who my parents are. My mom was well known as one of the lead secretaries of the day. She was part of the Secretaries Association. I think she's one of the founding members. She was board secretary for Fort Young at a certain point, and I think she's one of the founding members of NDFD, one of the original board members as well. Herself and Clementina Monroe had a secretarial business together. So long before this whole business services kind of thing came up, in a way they were one of the pioneers, right? Herself and Clem Monroe established this business called ProSec, where they offered basically secretarial services to companies that didn't have their own executive secretaries. They would do things like board meetings and board reports and annual reports and all kinds. In the days of the typewriter, when you had to type and then when computer technology started coming in, they were actually sort of the pioneers in that, in terms of teaching people how to use word processing and that kind of thing at the time. So my mom taught at the State College for a while in the secretarial program. So that's who my parents are, and very well known as well for Marriage Encounter, Engage Encounter, and they work in the Catholic Church.
Wow, Nigel. I love this.
Yes, beautiful journey started. You know what I mean? Yes, we're starting to get there. So we're at the point of convent prep, so we're moving from convent prep to, I guess, convent high school,
Convent
right?
High school, yeah.
Was it like a natural progression? We just moved from prep to convent high school? Or was it like most of the students just moved to convent high school?
It was in a way, but for me, not so much so, because my brothers both went to grammar school. And growing up, as I said, with as the only girl in the family, and with two older brothers who, I really emulated and looked up to. Also, one of my female cousins, who is 2 years older than me, she was also a student at grammar school. So actually, I really wanted to go to grammar school.
Yes, keep mentioning Dominica Grammar School. I like that. I like your vibes, Maxine. I really love this.
I really wanted to go to grammar school, because I was coming out of a mixed school. My brothers went to grammar school. Like I said, my cousin was going to grammar school. I really wanted to go to grammar school. I don't really remember the conversations around that, but I suspect that my parents, being strong Catholics, they wanted me to go to convent, and also because of the fact that my brothers are like 5 and 6 years older than me, so they would actually have been on their way out. So it wasn't really like I would be meeting them there. I would probably have had 1 year with my second brother Bernard.
Okay.
I think my brother John would have been on to Sifokol by then, which was right next door anyway. But anyway, for whatever reasons, they decided to send me on to Convent High, which in itself was a good experience. I really cannot complain about it at all. I made really good friends there. I kept some of my friends from Convent Prep. But I also made new friends, and it was interesting at the time. I don't think it's so much so anymore, but there was this big rivalry between Convent and St. Martin's School. And particularly Convent Prep and St. Martin Primary, I think, yes. So some of my really good friends became, some of the new friends that I gained were from St. Martin Primary. And it was always funny to hear the stories and the perceptions, right? What people see from the outside and how they feel about you and how they feel about you when they get to know you. So yeah, one of my closest friends now, she doesn't live here anymore, as many of my friends don't live here. Many of my school friends are not here anymore, and that's another discussion. But she was from St. Martin's School, and she was from Canefield. So she went to the same church as me. At the time, we didn't know each other. She would look at me walking to government headquarters from school, and she, kind of to the point, nose at me, and look at me at church. So my mom played guitar in the choir, so usually it was myself and my dad sitting together. And I'm a daddy's girl. I mean, no two ways about it. I'm a daddy's girl. So daddy and I would be sitting in church together, and sometimes I would fall asleep on his shoulder, or we were very close. And she used to look at me, and all of that was a source of ire for her, like, that child. But then we got to know each other in first form, and we became really, really, really good friends. So for me, Convent High School was a time of getting to know new people. I also got into netball, so I was one of the netballers. I was a center player, and that was a really great part of my school experience, from Convent through to Sifokol and even on to UE. So I eventually played intercampus games with UE netball. And so netball was a big part of my Convent high school time. We also had, at the time, the courtyard was used for tennis. So Reginald St. Davis Shillingford used to come in and teach tennis sometimes there. So that was a little part, and you still had the Dominica Club. So that was a little part of it for me too. But netball was really my sport.
But what was school life generally, though? You mentioned,
I'm not hearing you all very well in here.
I was asking, you hearing me now?
Yeah, better.
What was school life like generally? You mentioned netball was a big part, of it. But generally, what did you really look forward to, particularly at school?
I enjoyed school. For me, school was a social space. School for me was good. Honestly, I enjoyed Convent High. I made good friends. I look at some of the complications that I think kids going to school now have, and I feel that our school life was much simpler, socially. We didn't have a lot of the issues that arise now. And it was good. I mean, we had, as I said, netball and traveling for netball. I loved going to play in the outer districts. That was always like, a nice big outing for us. We go on the bus and we enjoy ourselves, and we win the games, of course, because Convent and PSS were the two champions, always bantering. And we have some stories with PSS. We got stoned. We got stoned once after we won a game. Stoned. They were throwing stones after the bus. Yeah. And then move on to Sifokal, and some of these same people became my really good friends, So it's just, life is about circles and cycles. But Convent was nice. I did well at school. I was one of the top performing students, but I also enjoyed myself. And I think maybe some of my teachers found me a little talkative. I seem to have a little mission. I had a little mission to bring out, the quiet girls. Somehow they always used to put me to sit down next to the quiet girls. And my mission in life was to bring them out of their shell. Get them to be a little more, a little more self-confident. Talk, come on, participate. And so I always used to end up sitting down next to the quiet girls. And I think some of them didn't like me so much. No, not seriously. I mean, we remain friends. I don't have any enemies. That's one thing about me. I don't have energy for keeping enemies. There was one person in high school that I stopped speaking to at a certain time, and that was just because she and I were very close. And she had this thing. She had a compass. She used to lie a lot, and it started pulling me into her twaka. And I just said, you know what? Sorry, let me put a little distance there because I don't want to deal with this. But other than that, I'm not a person who keeps enemies at all. I like I say, I don't have energy for it. So convent, my high school days were good days.
Nice.
But would you say, Maxine? Because I know as someone that's interested in the whole social life and everything else, and would you say at some point in time people might have said, boy, Maxine préjugé, Maxine think she this, she that.
Let
or
me tell you
people
something.
from that area think they this, they
Let
that.
me tell you something,
Was that
Nigel.
happening down
I
there?
have dealt with that my entire life.
Still? You mean
used to-
still?
Okay.
People used to call me Beke Blanc.
Hey, Papa.
People used to call me Beke Blanc. People used to call me, and this is the one that really used to get to me. People used to call me Bofa. And that
Oh.
used to get to me because I know what Bofa is. People used it as a slang, maybe without even knowing where it came from, but I knew the genesis. Remember, I grew up, my father is a politician. So what's on the TV, if we have the TV on, and at the time we we had a black and white TV that we had won in a church raffle. And it had very few channels, right? You had very few channels.
Yes, oh yes. They wanted the big bottom at the back, like
All right.
a lot of happening.
Exactly, a big back behind it. But then we also had radio. We had Radio Antilles and so on at the time, and so. But I was always, the news was always something that was around me. Like my dad always was on top of the news, so I knew about P.W. Boffa. I knew about what was going on in South Africa. I knew about the racism and apartheid. And for me, for people to call me Boffa, that used to hit me hard. I think I used to get red sometimes, but it taught me, I tell people I'm a dashing leaf. I got to the stage where I really don't care what people think and what they say. I do what I have to do, and I think over time people get to see who I am. I can't bother with all these stories, but I think that has evolved over time. But there was Beke Blanc, there was Bofa, there was Black is Beautiful, White is Kakapul.
Redneck.
Yeah. Oh, that redneck. Oh, yes, that redneck one was another. But I didn't, like I said, the one that really troubled me was the Bofa one. Right. And there were some guys who used to be hanging around outside convent, and they used to harass me on a regular. There was redneck. I think there was even a time there was Pupu Dread. Like I went through many names. But yeah, I think.
But I mean, in a sense, Maxine, do you think that tells us about people that when you have your own perception of someone based on either the way they look or the way they speak, and then when you get to know them, it's like, wow, I didn't know she was that kind of person.
Yeah, I mean, I always advocate for getting to know people. There's a thing that says never judge a book by cover. It's a true adage. It's a very wise thing. In my work now, where I work with the UN Migration Agency, it's one of the things that we see as well, and we try to, and as the communications person, one of the things that we try to find ways to open up people's stories, because very often we come across people on a daily basis, even sometimes, and we don't speak to them. We don't know who they are. Yeah. We don't know what their story is. We have no idea, and we come up with all of these preconceptions based on what we see or what we hear, right?
And I want to get to that, but I just, for some reason, Nigel, I just want Maxine to sing something. I mean, Maxine can sing. I mean,
I like enough talking.
Yeah. I reached this stage. You said earlier you reached this stage back in the day, when you were not letting this bother you again what they were saying. So I've reached this stage now that I want to hear something Maxine. Yeah, it could be a reggae, it could be anything that you choose. If you wish to stand, is all right. Things are wrong, he can set you up.
Well, I think I know you love the reggae, but I know most people what they know me for and what they expect of me almost every time.
Sure.
Although there were some songs that no matter how much I tried to get away from them. So I know Ivona loves reggae. I'll give her that one first.
All right.
Because people always called for this anytime we perform. So and is
You
one
have the
of my.
flu? You have the cold?
No, not
Oh,
really.
okay.
It's
All
just
right.
morning voice is not the best thing,
Okay.
you know.
And
Not,
you're in the AC
not
as
the
well.
best time for singing, but anyway. So I'll go with that. Turn your lights down low and pull your window curtain. Oh, let your moon come shining in into our lives again, saying, ooh, it's been a long, long time. I got this message for you, boy, but it seems I was never on time. Still, I wanna get through to you, boy, on time, on time. You all know this song, right?
But of course.
I wanna give you
We're not
some
singing.
love.
Minus spoiling in Nigel. Go ahead.
I wanna give you some good, good loving. Oh, I wanna give you some good, good loving. All right, that's enough for now, right?
No, another one. I mean, another genre. Another genre. Remember, I said earlier,
Lovely
I understood the assignment. I said very early in the program. You can sing, and you can entertain, and you can sing in any genre. So let's go with something else. Cut out anything.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna give because people again. Since I recorded that song.
Still, where do do?
Yeah. Since I recorded that song, people once I'm performing live, it's
Yeah,
like
it's
do
like you have to sing it,
do Right. So I'll give that to them. So this one is written by Barbara Bully, who is Barbara Bully Thomas. She's sister to the now deceased Alwyn Bully and Colin Bully and so on. A very distinguished family, and somehow her style of writing and my style of singing seem to really mesh very well. So so this one is called Doudou Mouin, and I recorded this back in, that would have been 2010, I think, because I was
final? I thought it was just like
no, I think it's
time goes by
2010 because
quickly,
I
okay.
was pregnant at the time when we did the video.
Okay.
And I think I was pregnant with my first daughter at the time. So, yeah. Si ou voit doudou mouin, ou ke voit un bel sourire. Si ou voit doudou mouin, ou ke voit soleil là. Doudou mouin, c'est doudou mouin, mais doudou mouin pas connaître ça. Doudou mouin, c'est doudou mouin, mais doudou mouin pas connaître ça. Moi j'aime doudou moi un jour, les moi t'es allé faire commission. Il dit moi ça qu'a fait fille, et puis ben moi un bel sourire. Oui, si vous voyez doudou moi, ou que voyez un bel sourire. Si vous voyez doudou moi, ou que voyez soleil là. Doudou moi c'est doudou moi, mais doudou moi pas connaître ça. Doudou moi c'est doudou moi, mais doudou moi pas connaître ça. Aïe doudou, aïe chérie, aïe doudou moi pas moi un sourire. Aïe doudou, aïe chérie, aïe doudou moi pas moi un sourire. So I want to big up two people actually, those two songs I just did, and I think they're both listening. One is Carl Kofi, because RSB is one of the first bands that I actually performed with live when I was still quite young.
In fact, Maxine, from the few messages that Carl has sent, the last one I'm seeing is that she has foundation, hence why she's well planted. So
yes. So I performed with them at the Massac Church Hall at the time, the Massac Community Center. So RSB was one of the first bands. So Carl and Dave and Maxime and those guys, Linden. And then also in terms of Doudou Mouin, Gordon Henderson, it's a song that he loves. And he has always, and he's such a real grandfather in the industry in Dominica. Himself and Ophelia.
he's just a wonderful soul.
Very much so. And
Both
they
of
really
them.
set the stage in terms of encouraging young artists and just being so willing to share their stories and their experience and their platform and everything. So I just want to take the opportunity to send out greetings to Carl and all the guys from RSB, to Gordon and to Ophelia at the same time.
You had to learn the Creole, or it was just part of you, so it was like easy?
Well, Creole, so again, because my mom is not Dominican and my dad is Dominican, but they grew up, so my grandfather was at some point Attorney General for the Leeward Islands, I think, right? So daddy is born in Dominica himself. I think the first three are born in Dominica. Then Two of them were born in St. Lucia, I think, and one in St. Vincent, and they also lived in Grenada.
That's regional integration right there.
So, so I very much come from that. That is very much my background, Caribbean.
Yeah,
right?
look at where you work as well. And,
Exactly.
And what
So
you know,
it has come full circle in a
advocate
kind of
for.
way, right?
Yeah.
And that's how life goes. But so Daddy, because Daddy didn't grow up fully in Dominica, Creole was also not something that came naturally to him. My knowledge of Creole came primarily actually from singing, and particularly from singing at church, from singing Creole hymns using a hymn sheet, right, with written lyrics, so that I could see, I could differentiate the words from each other. And this is why I keep on advocating for this even now, that, you know, my daughters have gone to 2 primary schools, and, well, 3 actually, if we count going to St. Lucia after Maria.
Okay.
But I keep on trying to advocate with the primary schools that I come into contact with, that if you do not have a language teacher at a particular time, just use music. Just use music, because that is how we learn language. That's what all the nursery rhymes are about, for instance, is learning the language. And the easiest way to learn, for a child to learn a language, is through music. So my knowledge of Creole really has come from singing Creole first at church, and seeing the words so that I could make sense of it. I began to understand what the phrases were, and I began to pick up certain phrases and be able to use them. And so that is what has, that's
like
what
this.
set the foundation for me.
I love this. Nigel?
The singing that you do, Maxine, I mean, was that part of something that was developed like during convent prep or high school or at home, or how did you find your love for singing and for music?
That is such an interesting question, and singing and music has been a journey for me. I would say that my first exposures were through church. Actually, there's a certain time, as I said, my mom used to play both guitar and keyboard, and I think Father Reggie is the one who taught her to play guitar, I believe, and that has been such a resource for the church, for churches that she has been involved in over the years. In Dominica, in Maho, in Canefield, in Mayro now, even she helps in Bells when we used to go to church up there, and even in Grenada and so on when she traveled, when Daddy was working through the OECS. For me, so it started, so they had made a little guitar for me, and I used to play alongside her in church. And I also sang in the choir. There's a time that I led the choir also. I think that was before I went off to UE, when the leader at the time, Ronnie John Baptist himself, had gone off to UE, and so I took up that mantle. And then Pearl Christian, as I said, with the Carey School of Music, and with the Convent Prep Choir. So that kind of gave me the exposure to being up front and very often to having a leading role. And then Auntie Pearl put me on Domfester one year to sing that song from Annie, Tomorrow, Tomorrow. One of the theme songs from the movie
The song
Annie.
comes, yeah. Go ahead, sing a verse on it. Boy. I agree with you.
So my mother sat in the audience. She said she sit down there watching me, and she said, "That's not my child. That can't be my child." I would be so scared to do that. I was maybe, I think, around 8 at the time.
Your father was in the audience as well?
Yes, of course.
Did they
of
cry?
course.
Did they cry?
Probably
Did they
my
shed
mother
a
did.
tear
My
too?
mother is very quick to tear, as am I sometimes, actually. So yes. So this is a song. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow, till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick out my chin and grin and say, tomorrow, tomorrow, I'll love you. Tomorrow, you're only a day away. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I'll love you. Tomorrow, you're only a day away. So that's that one.
Wow, thanks for singing that song. It really brought me back to childhood days and preschool days as well. I can remember, at preschool, you had to sleep in the afternoon time. And the teacher would sing you a little lullaby, and that was one of them.
That was one of them?
Yes,
really?
yes.
Okay.
And that would put you to sleep, So I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So, of course, that comes
I would
from...
just let you sing alone with Maxine. Like, seriously. I don't... Seriously. I mean, I want to talk about the whole immigration issue and what you're involved in and the other things that you're involved in. And I truly believe, Nigel, that maybe Maxine is not maybe. I think Maxine is underutilized in Dominica. Maxine has so much talent. I mean, and a communication specialist, and just to hear Maxine, how she speaks and oh my goodness, advocate for people. It's a lot. So Nigel, I truly believe
there's so
that
much more to her than just
yeah,
Maxine. Yes,
a lot more.
But Maxine, in terms of the music though, and the singing, which I want you to do for the whole show, but in terms of the music and the singing and so on, do you feel like we probably need to have more music in the schools? Is that something you think we probably need to look at?
Well, Nigel, that's all the good questions. You're really stupid.
Yeah,
Nigel, you heard that?
No, I didn't hear that part.
Good. Let's go, Maxine.
Yes, I do. I believe that, as I said earlier, we should use, like, for instance, Creole.
Yeah.
We should not only be teaching preschoolers to sing traditional songs around Creole time, and then when you go into primary school, that kind of drops off. Because, as I said, I see from my own instance how important music was to me, familiarizing myself with the language. And I go back again to actually Barbara Bully. Barbara Bully has some very simple songs that she wrote many years ago, decades ago, that were being, at the time, I think the social center used to use them, because I think she has told me that I believe Miss Charles at the time picked up on it and made it, brought it into the curriculum. And it's like, it's simple. So I don't really remember the song fully, but it's something like danser to dance, chanter to sing, like very simple ways of a teaching song.
Bonjour,
really,
day,
it was
yes.
Bonjour Good Day, right?
Bonsoir, good night.
Right.
Yes.
So that is a song that Barbara Bully also wrote, right? And you don't see that being used in the schools anymore. And it's a very simple song that is made to teach the language, right? And so I don't think that we utilize those things enough, and even French and Spanish as well. I think instead of trying to teach, like one of the primary schools that my daughters went to, I used to get so frustrated because every year I'm buying a new Spanish book, but they've hardly used the last one. Why? Because the one teacher that can teach Spanish sometimes cannot make it, or whatever the case might be. And I would just be like, just let the children, let one of the older students come into the class for the morning, for the class session, and use a phone, a laptop, something to play some simple counting sounds or years of the days of the week or months of the year.
The mathematical tables,
things like that.
Yes.
And it will help them to familiarize themselves with the language, and that is what might stick with them more than anything else.
I like
right?
that. I really love this.
I also think that there's so much opportunity to use music also to teach even fundamental subjects, but the teachers have got to have that kind of training. So, for instance, music can be used to help children who are having issues with math, right? Because music, children think in different ways, right? And music is mathematical. Music has a mathematical sort of a background and logic to the theory of it. And those are things that are used to teach children who have issues with the, let's say, the traditional ways of teaching. And for some children, that works. Music can also be used for therapy. And for instance, I look at my dad who has dementia, who suffers from dementia. All right? And his dementia has been caused by, it's been diagnosed as vascular dementia, which would have been caused by a few strokes probably along the way. They may have been minor strokes that we didn't pick up on. And so they sort of deadened certain areas of his brain, right? But Daddy responds very much. He may not remember what you told him a while ago, and he may not remember his days of politics. And because of the type of dementia, he may not even remember his childhood. But he continues to sing the songs. And so all the songs that we sang on a regular basis at church, he sings them and they bring him great joy. He sings the Christmas carols. So there are certain times when he might be, it's one of the ways, let's say, that we are able to engage him and engage his brain and also bring some joy to him. So I wish that there was more in terms of training. I think one of the things that, one of the areas where Dominica has slipped behind is in terms of formal training in the arts and the different ways that the arts can be used, not just for a livelihood in art necessarily, but in many different ways. I think that's one of the areas that we're not exploring. And honestly, I see a trend, like the type of people that enjoy Dominica, the type of people who choose to live here even when they have a choice to live elsewhere. The people that Dominica resonates with the most are people who are creative and artistic. And I think that is an area that we could tap into with this declining population that we have. And let's be real about it. Our population is declining, and we're not the only ones. It is something that is going, statistically, it is something that's going on in much of the Caribbean. But we ask ourselves what are the advantages that we have? What are some of the things that Dominica can capitalize on? And I think that people who are creative and artistic, Dominica appeals to them. And they want to be here. They prefer to be here. They can work outside, but they want to live here. And I think that is something that, so I kind of veered off on a different topic.
No, I really like what you're saying. I really love what you're saying, Maxine. I mean, how you tied in music with, helping children learn math in particular and other subjects as well. What is your take, though, as well on, because back in the day, there was a lot of avenues for exposure, talent exposure. So you could go to the Arawak House of Culture and you would see theatrical productions. Mm-hmm. And we had, I think there was a talent, I can't remember the name, but when I was at primary school, we had this. You could go to the Arawak House of Culture as well. I mean, yes, the Schools Arts Festival is still on, mm-hmm. but what is your take, though, on creating more of this exposure? DBS Christmas Song Contest is still on. By the way, did you ever participated? I'm trying to remember.
I have participated as a guest artist.
Okay. Right.
Yes,
but you never was.
And I have backed up Akim Ismail once. I think.
Well, he can sing. Well. He can really hold a tune. Eh? So, what is your take, though, on creating more of these avenues for exposure?
There are certain areas that have really fallen. I mean, not having the Arawak, and not having that type of stage where we can put on those kinds of productions. I think it has been one of the losses in recent years, and it means that we fall behind in a certain way, right? Because, for instance, if you go to Barbados, you will find that the level of production is much higher. And there are a couple of things that come into that. One of them is the availability of training in Barbados, and the focus on the creative arts, the importance that they give to it. And the other is the availability of venues. And then the third, which is an important and maybe controversial, but the third part of it is the audience. And what does the audience demand? What is the standard of the audience, and what do they demand? And so those are three factors that I think play in. But certainly we need to have a proper stage where productions can be put on, where theatrical productions that also would include music. And it could also be music productions. It could be all sorts of different things. But then where you have all, and I don't think that we should just rebuild the way that things were before. Because, Nigel, I'm sure you know that there are many weaknesses that have been identified in the way that the Arawak was at the time. right?
Mhm.
The sound,
Mhm.
the acoustics, the lighting, and so we should learn. For instance, I see at the Old Mill, for instance, we had a stage there, and there were identified issues. But we went back and we basically built the stage in the same place, and now we made it more permanent because now it's a concrete structure. We did not learn from the experiences that we had, right? And so this is something that, one, I would advocate really that we invest some time and money into rebuilding a theater, but that we need to learn from our experiences and do not build back the Arawak in the same way that it was built before and expect to have a different output. We need a covered venue. Dominica is a rainy place. We need a covered venue. We need a place of class that the audience can go and sit and have an experience, that young people can go and sit and see how things can be done and should be done, and how they can also participate in doing things at a different standard. That is super, super, super important.
Wow, Nigel, I want to know the song, But no, I want to. By the way, I want one from Nelly, Nelly Star. But Cleo Coffee, your teacher,
My
at
past
Convent
teacher,
Prep,
yes.
she said she's so proud of you. You go girl.
I'm proud of her as well, and
yeah.
and I mean people like that, teachers like that, impact. They really impact children. That's the type of teacher that you don't forget. And so she used to ring our ears. Sometimes she was known for that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, but yes,
But for good reason.
Yeah.
By the way, Winnie Green is saying, Maxine, you are such a sweet and pleasant individual. Always love your humble, loving nature. Your
Thank
voice
you,
is so
Winnie.
captivating. Abundance of blessings for 2024.
Thank you, Winnie. Thank you.
And earlier, of course, teacher Bertrand, Glenda Bertrand also mentioned that.
My teacher.
Yes, your teacher. And she mentioned the fact that they also do those songs now in her school.
Nice.
The one you were talking about, for the one from Barbara.
Nice.
Bonjour, good day.
Nice.
Yeah, these songs are
They do it at the
needed, man.
school. So
Like flowers on my ear, slippers on my feet. I remember that song because I sang that song at graduation at preschool.
sing it first,
as well.
I wanna.
Mind me, Nigel. Your voice is not too good today. New rule. I'm not singing, I'm not laughing again. And Carl Coffee James is saying, Nigel, quickly, Ivy, Nigel, and Maxine, we need a second episode. So
Every time
we
you're
can talk about
connecting
that.
the dots, always need a second
Boy, I
episode.
tell you, no,
Connecting the
with
dots
some
always
people-
need.
We always need to
I'm a
connect the
regular
second
listener,
time.
and you'll always need a second episode. I guess it's difficult to encapsulate an entire life in an hour and a half.
Yes,
Really,
yes,
that
yes,
hour.
yes.
It
We
is.
try to connect within that hour.
is.
But you'll do a good job, man.
Do
You'll pull out.
you know. You're gonna do a song for
Yeah,
another
I want a
right, before
song.
we
eh?
get-
I want a song.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
let's do another song.
She wants a Nelly. Okay, so Nelly, Nelly, boy, people used to, as another part of my school days, people used to mistake myself, Nelly, and Joan Amo all the time. Nelly is, let's say, extended family because I have Seaman roots, and her mother, I think, was Seaman from Vickers. My great grandmother is Seaman from Vickers.
Okay.
But I don't know, people always used to take us for each other, and I thought when Nelly grew her locks that they would stop taking us for each other, and they still used to take us for each other. So, and then I also I backed up for Nelly myself, and Lisa Latouche and Michaela Mead and Jemmy Paul at a certain time. Backed up for Nelly. We traveled with her. We have some really nice, great stories. And she was a beautiful soul. And we really miss her. And I'm not going to say more because I'll start tearing up.
Which one you gonna do?
Yeah, so
Up?
I guess I will do Sister Cool.
Okay, no problem.
It's one of the songs that I love.
Kind of emotional
Sorry,
for you
yeah?
at this
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
alright.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
alright. You're human, you like to laugh. You have emotions as well, so that's good. That's nice.
Yeah, so
Sister Cool, if you forgot, because of what's happening to you right now in your whole,
I hope I don't forget the lyrics of Sister Cool, but anyway.
Nigel will jump it.
Right. I expecting your
Yes,
help.
that's
I
possible.
listening for you.
If I
Anyway.
go at the back.
My name is Sister Cool. I'm just a easy little sister and I ain't no fool. I'm just moving on up this road with my heavy load. And I'm stronger than I was when I was younger. Now I can go much longer with a smile on my face.
That's it. No,
And every day we see all kind of people with all kinds of ways. Some people love to love you, some people love to hate. All we can do is pray for a brighter day. Mankind must unite, we gotta do it right. Let Rastafari lead the way. My name is Sister Cool. I'm just a easy little sister and I ain't no fool. I'm just moving on up this road with my heavy load. And I'm stronger than I was when I was younger. Now I can go much longer with a smile on my face. Hey, Mr. Diddler, go and get your fiddle. I just had to do that
like
little part. That's Nelly.
Yeah.
That song, when we were doing the memorial for Nelly Alliance Française and as part of the Jazz and Creole 2 years ago, and we had to choose our songs. I chose that song because that song really, for me, embodies Nelly so much. Like, she was really on a journey. And she had come so far in her journey, and she was also such a hard worker, really moving on up the road with her heavy load, like literally, and getting stronger than she was before. And so that's one of the songs that really speaks to me in terms of Nelly and who she was. So that's one of those I love.
Wow. You ever tried Wake Up? You ever did that one as well?
I didn't sing Wake Up.
Okay.
No, I didn't sing Wake Up.
I just love Wake Up.
Yes.
I love all the songs,
Yes, yeah,
but
yeah,
there's something about Wake Up, and it was at the time when it was released. I was on radio doing it was Weekday Rendezvous, Rhythm of the Day back then, so that was like a signature tune for me.
Rise up,
Yes.
with the revolution.
Yeah, nice vibes, man.
Yeah,
Nice vibes.
yeah. It's a lovely song.
Kofi is also saying he's listening to you, and it goes right back to his little daughters because, of course, that.
Yes.
Talent is there.
Kofi's bringing up a star right now, and doing a really good job keeping her, mentoring her, and being with her along the way.
Oh, yes, definitely. So, and for those who want to listen up, you can always listen up to Kofi's daughter. I think she has something called 13 or
yeah, she just
She-
I think
she's
actually
really
over
Kofi,
the
you can
past
help me know if it's
over the
called
past
13.
couple of days she released I
yes,
think she
she's
released
been
a
doing pretty
single
good.
recently.
Yes.
So
So
her
that's
music
beautiful
is-
to know.
Nigel, I know we
Yes.
had intentions to bring Kofi and his daughter on, so I'm hoping that we can do
Yes,
this
we'll
very
do
early.
that in the new year for
In
sure.
the new year, yes. We can do this.
With his permission and blessings, we'll have her on.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Boy, Nigel,
So,
the messages are plenty, and
No.
people are really enjoying this vibe. Yeah, they're really. By the way, let me say hello to Justin Tabanis, Noreen Joseph, and so many people are on and really loving, what you're doing.
These beautiful ladies.
Yeah,
yes,
humble
definitely.
Maxine.
Alvin,
man.
good morning. By the way, Alvin was late.
He was
morning,
late.
but
I noted that, by the way.
You have a note for him on the side. Okay.
A letter is
So
on its way.
deal with him after, but good morning
yeah.
to him as well. Somebody, yes, I think that's what it was called. Kofi. So yes,
Yeah.
big up for that, and go out and listen to it. And next year, in the new year, we want to have you and your daughter on, so we can spread some love on there.
Early in the year.
Maxine for all the music and all the producer and events, promotions, and everything else. I know you have this little establishment up that side. And of course, after
Up
Maria,
that side,
we
where's
can-
up that side? Where are you, Nigel? What part of Dominica are you in? You tell me about up that side.
Well,
Up that side is
what
where?
people just- Up that side is you people just call Kenfield up there. Up that side.
You mean at Bells? You're talking about at Bells? Riverstone. I had
yes.
Riverstone at Bells. Before that, we had I think probably what I was most well known for at the time was Thirsty Thursdays, which was a weekly event that we established at the time it was Green Flash at Lale Coco. So at that time I was working very closely with my buddy Maggie Dunstan Peters. Maggie and I had a business together called Island Vibes Entertainment. I was self-employed at the time and fully self-employed, and Mikkel and myself, Junior and myself were friends from college, from C4 days.
That's Roland.
Yes,
Okay.
Roland Junior Del Sol, known to me as Jun. We were
I thought
friends
Jun was for
from.
girls.
No, he was Junior. We used to call him Jun, and he had a partner called Ronald. So it was Jun and Tutu.
Eric.
So myself and Junior became good friends from college days, and then let me make sure I get the time correct. Anyway, at some point, I can't remember which came before what, but I lived upstairs of Junior and Mikel in Granby when I was working at Jungle Bay. So this was early days of Jungle Bay during the development phase. I was on as marketing director, and I lived at Granby upstairs of Mikel and Junior. I traveled with them then as a backup singer. And then at some point Mikel was kind of having a challenge of, she was often off island, but she needed to maintain a presence on island. So we devised this plan to have this weekly event where it was basically her band and my band as the staples. So if she was off island, it wasn't a big deal. It wouldn't affect the event because we would hold the fort. If she was here, we would, make sure that we give her the space and the stage to be able to. So it was a nice event because for many different reasons. One of them was because of the fact that it wasn't the same band all the time. Right, so you had the variety of the two different bands, but also because it was an integral part of the event that we provided a space that anybody that wanted to come and join in with the band, if you wanted to pick up the bass guitar, or you wanted to come and sit on the drums for a while, or you wanted to come and sing, or whatever it was, you had that space that you could come up. So it was always fresh. It was always, entertaining and engaging for the audience. So we did that Thirsty Thursday. So that was myself and Maggie and Junior and Mikel were behind that initiative with really strong support from Sarah, who was the owner of Green Flash at the time. She was a really good partner. And then fast forward a few years, and I established myself and my husband at the time. Well, when I say at the time, he's still my husband. But at the time, we established Riverstone Bar and Grill. So my dad bought this property in Bells, and one of the things that he saw out of it was the fact that so my husband loves to cook and had this ambition for his own restaurant. And I love to entertain, and I was involved in the tourism industry, and of course my marketing and so on, promotions and event production and so on. And so he saw it as a wonderful opportunity for us to do something, and we were blessed at the time and fortunate to have the ability to invest. So my husband really invested in building the bar, which is a lovely location overlooking the river. It captures all of Dominica, really. It is a perfect showcase for Dominica. Right over the river, a covered venue, and of course lots of live music, grilled fish, which is one of Sean's specialties, and grilled pork, and we always had our chicken, and we did some really great events there. So one of the things that we had that had grown out of Thirsty Thursdays was the initial Creole and all that jazz festival, where we had worked with Orange at the time. Orange was a telecoms company in Dominica, to bring in Ronald Toole and some other artists from Martinique. And Alliance Française had provided, I can never forget this one-man band that sounded like 5 or 6 musicians. It was absolutely amazing. And then Mikel performed, and Maxine and friends performed as well. But then when I started working and I couldn't really do all the fundraising for that kind of event anymore, we kind of passed that on. But we've done some really great events. And so one of the things that we ended up securing at Riverstone, because of our history with jazz and Creole and all that jazz, was the Saturday event the day before the main stage event. So we established Riverside Jazz and Creole, which for many people was their favorite event. I mean, it was a really lovely event. We had Nelly and Trevi and Rasmo was some of our artists. Natalie Clark was our MC one year. We had Mikhail perform Mel C and Charlene at the time. They were, look, I'm not remembering the name of the band right now.
But they had a collab, yeah.
Yeah. And so they performed there as well. Just a really lovely event. People enjoyed because it was great music. We really made sure that we kept the Creole and the jazz identity. But it was the kind of event that you could dress up, but you could come and you could take off your shoes. Yeah, you could go in the river. It was just a really lovely event. And so that was one of the things that we did. And our pre-carnival fete, those were some of the things that we did up there. Yeah. Wow.
Nigel, I'm looking at the time. I don't know where it's going. We need a part 2. Obviously, we need a part 2. Right, Nigel? We need a part 2. I mean, come on.
Yes.
We haven't even talked about what I'm doing nowadays.
We need a part 2. By the way, Nigel, let's say hello as well to JL Joseph. She'll be a guest in the new year as well, very soon. Yeah, man. She's on the State Love Maxine.
Morning, Jay.
I love this. I just love that vibes with you. It's so cool, sister. Another song we want.
Another song you
want?
Try
to butter you up there.
All right, this is one that we released it, but it never really went so far. But I have to say that it's a song that I want to redo. It's another song of Barbara Bully's, but it's a song that I want to redo. Dudumwe I sat on for quite a while, for maybe 2 or 3 years after she gave it to me, developing in my head what I wanted it to sound like. So actually, after myself and Cornell did it, and I let her hear it, she was like, oh my God, like that wasn't the concept that I had for the song, but it's perfect. And with this other one, Mademoiselle Alleyne, I also don't think that my first take on it is actually what I want to have finally out of it. So I did this by Bert Bellany, and he and I have already agreed that we have to sit down and do it over. But it's a nice little song. I hope I can remember the words again. About a girl who goes to Grand Bay for this moonlight ballet. Basically, it's a sort of a ballet foundation story, and yeah. So the name of the song is Mademoiselle Alleyne. I hope I remember the lyrics, like I say. So Mademoiselle Alleyne, when il cache pour faire avec un homme qui l'a. Hey, Mademoiselle Alleyne, they will come. No. I have to get the words. Let me get the words for that. Let me pick up the words for that, and I'll come back with it. I don't want to not do that justice.
No problem.
Let me get the words.
Nigel, I tell you, we need more time with Maxine because we haven't spoken about.
We haven't even touched on the other part.
And lyrical content, what she's hearing these days.
Oh
what
my
is her take
word!
on all
Don't get me started with that.
And we haven't even spoken about her role as a communication specialist, especially with the IOM, and what she's really advocating for. I've spoken to Maxine on radio many times, and I just love every time she's on. I just love her vibes,
So are you booking her for next week Saturday as well?
Aye. But yeah, so let's just strike the
seriously.
While it's on.
My goodness, no man, you're not easy.
Yeah, so let's just do that so we can.
Are
continue.
you serious?
But of course, come with more songs.
I have a message from Lauren Dale saying Dudumwe is her favorite song.
Nice. Joan Smith is saying season's greetings, everyone. Lovely voice, Maxine. All the best for the new year. Cleo Coffee is there again. Maxine is just so well spoken. It's amazing. She is.
Thanks to my teachers.
She really is. Beautiful soul. Someone is saying Faye Dashin. I love this name. Faye Dashin.
Yeah. That's my girl. Emma.
All right. Well spoken gem. I tell you, the messages are just many. I'm not seeing a lot from Alvindo Nigel. Where is he? Okay. My bad.
Because you know you have a detention. He's still at the back.
Yeah.
Yes. For being very late this morning, so he tried not to say too much, so we we'll forget him. But no, we won't forget you. We have you down on the side, the notes there already. Yes.
Mademoiselle Alleyne doesn't want to download for me. I have a new phone there, and half of my
it doesn't download for
my
you.
apps have, I don't know, they're not it's not syncing, it's not working properly. My phone not phoning.
The app's not apping.
The app's not apping.
The app's not apping.
Nigel.
Next week we'll get that one from her. That's fine.
Charles Joe is saying,
yes.
I've won a box of tissue is needed on connecting the dots.
Really?
Yeah, boy. Yes, sir. We have cried already, Nigel. Nigel cried already too. Maxine, not, he has shed some tears. We have had fun on that program. Real fun, seriously.
It's been a beautiful mix.
You have another song ready?
Well, I guess we can do Gloria. I mean, it's
man.
Christmas season.
Course,
It's the time of year. And again, this one was written by Alwyn Bully. This is.
Yes.
And it was part of a theatrical production. Recorded by Gloria, recorded by the Queen, La Grande Dame, Ophelia, and they asked me to redo this song some years ago. So I redid it with Cornell again. So, and it's a song everybody knows, I think. Gloria, Gloria. Gloria, Gloria, mi misère finit bien à sous la terre, mi douleur et misère finit bien. Puisse bon Dieu voyer Jésus, c'est certain, toute la terre qui est obligée chanter. Gloria, 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 bon Dieu et puis nous actuellement. Gloria, 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 nous comptons pour Jésus qui bat nous la vie. Gloria, 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 des moun qui nous oye qui ka chanter. Puisse nous peser, zo game, zo belle. Pape nous, puisse nous sortir, hot bon Dieu. Nous ka fait ça, yo dit nous en ciel. Gloria, 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 Gloria. Bon Dieu, et puis nous actuellement. Gloria, 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 Gloria. Nous comptons pour Jésus qui bat nous la vie. Gloria. I can stop now.
Boy, let me tell you
Oh,
something.
you stopped me when I was just
There's
drifting away.
another Christmas one.
Man.
Another Christmas one. Celebrate,
Yes.
celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. Oui, c'est Noël, nous qu'à célébrer. Venez tout le monde à nous chanter. Célébrer, 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 célébrer. Oui, c'est Noël, nous qu'à célébrer. Venez tout le monde à nous danser.
Maxine Alleyne-Esprit. DC Maroye is saying she has been around Maxine in netball and she has always been very humble and kind.
Let me
You
tell
know,
you,
she
they
says-
used to try and mash me up, because I was small and they figured they could do me all kind of things, jump on my back, roll over me. But I was small and I was fast and I was good for myself.
One of the things you mentioned, Maxine, which kind of stuck with me was that you said when you were in school, you put the quiet ones beside you so you could bring them out and have them get that self-confidence.
Yes.
As we end this program today, and we'll have
Are you seriously about me coming back next week?
we have you for part
Oh my
two.
gosh.
As we end-
So clear your calendar, clear the calendar.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, as we end for this week, one of the things you mentioned was about the self-confidence, and that, that seems to resonate with you. For young people who might be going through some stuff and so on, what would you say to them in terms of having that self-confidence and being who you are and expressing yourself the way you do?
Yeah. So every night I bless my daughters. And one of the things that I pray in a blessing is that they will be quick to apologize and ask for forgiveness if they do anything that is hurtful to anyone. But I have added on to that because, I experienced the change coming into the teenage years and the transition into high school with my first daughter, how the difficulties that you can experience, right? And I've added on to that prayer that they will also always be mindful and know that they are a child of God, created with intent, created with certain talents, and created with a mission and a job to do, and that they will find that job, and they will always never allow anyone to make them feel that they do not live in the grace and the mercy of God, and that they are not deserving of his grace and mercy. And it's interesting because maybe we are not deserving, but this is why it is called grace. And God has blessed us as his children and has his intentional creations with his grace. So I would want to say to everyone who is out there listening, whether young or old, but in particular to the young ladies, because I think young girls and women coming up are under so much pressure from the social expectations and from the media images and from popular culture to degrade themselves under the guise of uplifting themselves, right? So the message that popular media gives you is to show and to clap your, and to, all of these things that women must do in order to be respected and recognized, when actually what these things give you is they degrade your respectability and they cause you to be recognized for all the wrong things. So I would want to say to everyone out there that you are created with purpose, that we didn't just happen by accident, that all of us have a purpose in life that we have been created for. So don't give up, and do not allow people to make you feel that you are not enough, you're not capable, and that you don't matter, you don't count. Do not allow other people's opinions of you to dictate who you are and who you become. Remain focused. Know that you have been blessed with talents, and your talents have been given to you intentionally so that you can achieve some work and some purpose. And so do not allow anyone to make you feel less than. I have been in situations and in relationships where that danger has existed, and I am thankful that I've been able to get out of these relationships. And so I want to say that there is, even if you may be at a place where you don't feel like you can do the things that you need to do, and you don't feel that you are enough, and you're being brought down, and your level of confidence and your sense of self is not at its best, connect to the source. One of the bosses that I had was Ian Blanchard, and he used to tell us, make sure that you remain connected to the source, the source of your sense of self and your sense of worth. Do not let anybody permanently take that away from you. It might be at a low point right now, but do not let that be the end of the story. Make sure that you gather your strength to climb out of that hole where you might be. And if you're at the brink of going into that hole, don't go down. Stay where you are and pull back. And always remember that we do not need... Sometimes we feel like we need certain people in our lives in order for us to be. But sometimes these are the very people that we need to pull away from in order to find ourselves and to build ourselves and to move forward and do the things that we need to do.
Amen. Maxine, come next week, Tan, because... there's something about you, Maxine, that you have to come on.
Such a wonderful and beautiful way to end the year.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
And then to begin the new year to continue.
I just love Maxine.
Find space on the calendar.
Yeah. Make this space. You can even bring whoever you want to. Any artist, anybody else.
Actually, next week. Anyway, let me not put that out there. But next week, maybe, because I have some.
You have an engagement.
I have some family coming on Sunday.
But okay.
No. I have a nev.
Bring them.
So
Everybody,
maybe I'll bring a special guest.
But
with
of
me,
course,
maybe.
yeah, man.
We'll see.
But it was really a pleasure. We don't want to rush you, but we have run out of time, and there's another program, and I would like another song, and everything is just happening right now, and this energy that I feel is just, So anyway, but thank you so much for joining us today. So as we say, next week we'll continue part 2. and then bring more songs and let's have fun. Let's have fun.
I
Let's
can't
empower
believe you all.
people as well. Wow, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed
Yes,
this.
yes, yes. Thank you so much, Maxine. Much appreciation, much blessings
Thanks for
for
having
the
me.
new year, for you and the family, and for all what you do. We'll connect again next week.
Yeah.
I love the end. I love the way we ended this today.
Yes.
With those profound
What a
words
guest,
to
what a
people
guest.
in general, but especially to our young people who might be going through stuff,
Yep.
Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up.
Alright.
Thank you so much.
Next week, God willing, Niger, we'll talk again. We have to run.
Yes,
eh?
my dear, we'll link again next week.
Yeah, man. Nice vibes, nice vibes. Join us next week for another program. This is Connecting the Dots. So we'll have Maxine hopefully next week. God willing. She's laughing. Maxine likes to laugh. Maxine has this joie de vivre. But I have to run. You take care. Thanks again, everyone who listened, who viewed as well, who sent messages. Enjoy the rest of the year. We'll meet again next week, God willing.